Welcome to Grow Fast, Grow Smart, the PI Playbook by Xcelerator, the podcast exclusively designed to help personal injury law firms reach their full potential and serve their clients better. Today's episode is hosted by Micki Love, president of CJ Advertising and co-founder of Xcelerator Law Firm Consultants.
Hey guys, Micki Love coming to you again today with another episode of the Grow Fast, Grow Smart Law Firm Consultant Xcelerator podcast. I am super excited today to be joined by David Goins with Walker Advertising. Welcome, David.
Thank you for having me.
Oh gosh, I just love lead generation for law firm growth. I don't know about you, but I have seen some fantastical things happen for law firms when they start buying leads. And I know you guys have been in this business for a while. Why don't you tell our listeners what Walker Advertising does for firms and how people can reach you before we get into all this today, if you don't care?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Walker Advertising, we've been around since 1984. Live connecting injured plaintiffs across the country with law firms who can help them with their case. WalkerAdvertising.com. You can learn more about us. But yeah, we work with hundreds of firms across the country, have thousands of plaintiffs reaching out to us, and we've send them to the firms who can help them and take the case.
So I heard you say that you guys have been around for quite a while. Lead gen is fairly. It's been around for a while, obviously, but it's just really become a phenomenon for personal injury law firms in the last couple of years. People have really started to utilize it more and more. What have you seen change in the marketplace with people looking for a lead generation company from the past to current?
Yeah, I would say there was always, kind of like a stigma, like online dating or, a certain perception of lead gen in the past. I think COVID kind of created an opportunity where a lot of firms who had those perceptions in the past kind of viewed it more as, a lifeline, as, there's less, potential referral sources and in-person events. And firms who may have not tried lead gen in the past were willing to give it a shot. And then also just constantly overcoming the stigma of the industry and what separates us in the same way, not all law firms are created the same, not all lead gens the same. So just kind of telling the Walker story and kind of what we're about and kind of going from there.
I love that. So I heard you say also, I believe, Live Connect. Is that correct?
That's right.
Can you explain to our listeners what the difference is between what you're doing with Live Connect versus what some other lead gen companies may offer?
Sure. Yeah. So Live Connect would be just the intent. The consumer is on the phone call. So all these calls are coming into our call center. They're vetting the call for 10, 15 minutes, and they're doing a warm transfer to the firm. So whereas, with typical lead gen, and I've done this, in decades past, where the risk you run is great. This looks good on paper. Now it's my job to get them on the phone. We kind of take that step out and get them on the phone directly to you.
Well, I know it's a difficult world just trying to get people to click on your ad so that you can get the lead, that you can get over to the law firms. But tell me what your experience has been with law firms post that piece. So you guys transfer the lead in. What do you see are some of the common pitfalls inside of a law firm once a lead gets to them?
I would say the main thing that we have to do is make sure, that they understand this is unbranded advertising. They're calling us because they don't know local firms. So it does require that, education process. They're not responding to, a firm's TV ad. So it's their first opportunity to introduce the firm and kind of have more of that, salesmanship and why you want to work with that firm. So just making sure that they understand that initially and making sure that, they're signing what they want to sign. And, not every call is going to be a case, but enough is that they're going to get a really good ROI on that. And just making sure, that they have that understanding going in.
So I know you've been in a lot of law firms and seen the inner workings, as have I. And, we have worked on some intake departments and intake setups together in the past, just trying to help firms do the the best job they possibly can when a lead does make it to their firm. I feel as though sometimes firms forget, that it is a difference. There is a distinct difference in the way that you have to treat a lead gen versus someone who saw your advertisements or knows someone who knows you inside of your market. So I love that you pointed that out. What are some of the tips and tricks that you have seen firms implement, or some things that you've seen them do differently that helps them, or that you've implemented with them to help their intake team really connect with those cold leads, if you will, call them that?
Yeah, I would say, giving that elevator pitch of, who we are, and being empathetic in the process, and not just collecting information, but making sure that they're hearing the customer and their story, as well as taking advantage of the fact that it is a live transfer call. So by that, making sure that, they're getting the action item that they want. And, if they want to sign the case, that they're doing it on that live call. Because, if they disengaged without, the call being signed when they wanted to sign it, at that point, maybe they're better off working with a vendor who's just giving them email leads. Cause, we getting them on the phone is the hardest part, as you know.
Absolutely. So you guys take a lot of that hard work out of those first steps. And so I can appreciate that, because I see so many firms where they're just doing the email lead gen and it takes forever. They're chasing these calls for weeks and weeks, just trying to get a person on the phone to start with. So to get that person already there, making sure that your team has a really good script around what are we going to say to them once we do get them on the phone, even so far as to have a different team of individuals that handle your lead gen versus the teams that handle your hot leads that come in from your typical marketing sources or referrals. I've seen that in some firms. Have you seen that be successful for others?
I have. I've seen, certain teams, handling the either the colder leads or the less warm leads. Some who, working directly just with referrals. Usually, I would say, whoever your best salesmen are in the firm are the ones who work best with lead gen.
Yeah, you definitely got to have that sales type mentality. I was just working with a firm the other day and we were talking about, staffing up for their intake department as they bring more lead gen companies online, such as yours. And we went back and forth on, can they hire just someone off the street to do intake? And the answer is yes. But the larger answer to me is always, what is their personality? Do they want to be in sales? Do they enjoy sales? So many times I think firms get caught up in wanting to be a call center that they feel like they need to go out and find call center people to fill those seats. And it's not necessarily about what job they've held in the past as it is about their personalities. Because I feel as though, and maybe you have some opinions on this as well, like the personality of the person taking a lead from a lead gen company has to be comfortable with sales. They don't have to be like trying to sell car warranties or anything like that, but they definitely have to be willing to inform the caller more about who they've reached and really talk to them more about the benefits of utilizing the firm that you've connected them with. Do you see firms doing anything different to identify the personality types to really get these people in the right seats?
I would say the main thing that's helped is if they have the understanding, that what they're asking for, the sell they're asking for is obviously, here's the contract, you sign on the dotted line, we can help you. But, no one likes to feel that they're asking someone for something. But if I'm extending a hand and we want to help you, it kind of changes it a little bit where you're not, you're not indebted to them. You're asking them for something that they don't need. You're lending, help, and you're just helping bridge that relationship. But it definitely, people who are more, if it's extroverted or just intentional, just thoughtful and intentional and knowing, what the big picture is, usually, seeing that whole process usually are the people who have a higher signage rate.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Talk to me about metrics. Like, what type of metrics does Walker track? And then what do you teach to your firms to track so that they know that they are getting a good ROI? I heard you mention that earlier.
Yeah. So we internally we use a system. We use Domo to keep track of all the analytics, but we'll integrate with whatever API they use. If it's Lead Docket or Smart Advocate or Filevine or whatever. But what we want to make sure is that we're fully transparent and we know what was delivered, and so we can optimize the product, but also so both sides can be accountable as we view this as a partnership. So what we're measuring is their want rate, and what of the calls we sent did they want to sign, and what of those did they actually sign, and if there was a missed opportunity, what was the leading driver. So we'll do things where if it's amending their weekend hours or their business day hours, or making sure calls go to certain people if they meet certain criteria, just making sure that everything has its best chance of success for both sides, and making sure that we're going into that relationship where both sides are fully transparent and like-minded in the direction we're going.
Yeah, I love that you guys are using Domo internally. I know there's so much you can do with that system for reporting and just being able to analyze the data that's coming in. So I think that's a huge benefit to the people who are purchasing leads from you guys, that you're keeping up with all that stuff on your side. From the law firm side, we like to see that they're keeping up with, how many total leads did we get from Walker? What is our want percentage of those leads, right? So if we took in 10, did we want 2? Did we want 5? What does that number look like for Walker? And then what is our conversion percentage? Once we know that we wanted them, how many of them did we actually get converted into a case that the firm can handle? So that we can then assess, what does our pipeline look like for leads that are coming from lead gen, and specifically by each lead gen source, so that firms can make the right choice about which lead gen company to use, because cheaper is not always better when it comes to leads, in my opinion. I mean, you could buy a lot of leads for a couple $100s each and maybe get 1 or 2 of them on the phone, or you could spend a little bit more with a high quality lead and get more on the phone and convert more of those cases more easily. And that truly pays big dividends for law firms, I believe, and believe that other firms could benefit from making sure that they have those same analytics. And if you don't have an analytics program, Domo is great, but start with your own case management program first and see, what does your case management platform offer? Can you track these things inside of your own platform so that you can have great discussions with your vendors like Walker Advertising or any of the other lead gen companies you might think about utilizing over time, so that you're continually selecting to stay with the company who has the biggest ROI for your firm, in my opinion. I don't know, David, have you seen other people do you get regular calls from firms where they're talking to you about the quality of the leads that are coming in, and how do you guys handle that for firms as those conversations come up?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And a big part of what we do too is, as you were saying, in terms of time, is, time's your most valuable resource. And, oftentimes firms will say, well, I'm getting this cost per case, through this source. But in a lot of it is there's a lot of great sources out there. But what we try to do is limit, the opportunity cost of your time, and get to the top of the funnel and get you there faster. Is kind of what Walker does, and what we do is scale that with them. In terms of quality, we definitely I'm almost more leery if they have amazing results like out of the gate, as if they have horrible results, because I know that it's all going to level out, and I know what it's going to be in the course of the year, and they're going to win long term. But the first couple cards in the deck, if it's awesome or if it's bad, I'm always leery of setting a bad precedent. So just making sure that they're long term focused with us, and we're willing to partner with them and kind of build that ramp of success long term. What we always say is we don't just sell leads, we help build law firms, and we're committed to doing that.
What type of case types does Walker offer lead gen for, and what type of conversion rate do you see at most firms by case type?
Yeah. So we advertise 100% for motor vehicle accidents, but with that, we still get, some ancillary personal injury cases, mass torts, workers' comp issues. So we get a percentage across, the plaintiff, variety, but I would say, 90% is motor vehicle accidents. Conversions will vary a little by market, but I would say in the 45 to 55% range is what we see.
That's awesome. That's getting pretty close to the sign up ratio that we would see for traditional advertising. So I think that's really good. And I think the warm transfer to the law firms of a live call is super helpful in keeping those numbers pretty high for you guys. With other lead gen sources, what we're seeing is, you'll see, somewhere in the 30% range. And it takes a lot of effort to even get there. So do you guys also, I believe I recall seeing some information on your company regarding Spanish speaking lead gen too? Are you guys heavily focused in that area? And what do you see are the differences with the Spanish speaking lead gen versus non Spanish?
Yeah, that was definitely, Los Defensores, our main brand, has been the backbone of the company and what we're most known for. It's definitely a huge focus of the company is reaching the Hispanic audience. It's a growing demographic nationwide, and that's something that's really worked well for us and kind of helped set us apart. I would say in terms of the clientele, the main difference I see is I think they initially have a little more skepticism, just dealing with the legal process. But once they have buy-in and you forge that relationship, they're incredibly loyal. I would say even more so, than a traditional consumer. And in terms of potential referral sources and moving forward, I we have tons of firms who have kind of started, a whole, section within their firm, just, catering to that audience. So yeah, it's a great audience. Just requires a little more initial, education and rapport. And I think the trust factor initially requires a little more on the front end, but once it's established, it's rock solid.
Interesting. I also was curious how you guys are and what you recommend to your clients for after hours, because a lot of lead gens will come in at off hours. How do you help your clients through that? How do you guys handle that when it's a live transfer? Are you live transferring to an answering service, or have you come up with a different solution for firms for after hours?
Yeah. So a lot of times we'll make customized, contact hours depending on the firm's capabilities. If they feel like their, after hours service isn't their A team, isn't their fastball, we'll just, say, hey, we'll just, send this call to someone else and let's just concentrate on where your best people are. But a lot of people, they'll use if it's, alert or whoever in terms of after hours that they're confident in. We'll use that. We don't have an internal solution for that, but I would say 90% of our calls are like a 2 hour swing on opening and closing hours. So kind of that 10 to 12 hour window. So it's pretty rare that we're getting the 2 a.m. call. We are 24/7, but a lot of times we'll just kind of work around the firm's limitations. And I would shy away oftentimes from after hours if they feel that with what they're paying for our services, we want to make sure that they're getting the best return for that. So we work with whatever limitations they have, and we can connect the call the following day for them, engage our call center to reconnect the call for them. Um, you know, it's a moving target.
And I imagine every firm handles it a little bit differently, right? So you
Yeah.
have escalation processes and different things in place that can help each firm meet their goals and their what they're capable of handling, which I appreciate about what you guys do. I feel like, for anyone out there that's listening, I've seen firsthand how Walker can go in and help a firm identify their weaknesses and their strengths and be able to help them develop a plan for getting leads to them to help them grow their firm. So if you're looking for a solution, to grow your firm or to continue to grow your firm, lead gen is definitely a way to go. And you should definitely talk to David and his team over at Walker Advertising, because they will help you in so many ways. It won't be your least expensive cost per lead, but it'll probably work out being equal to or better than your cost per case by the time you factor in they've already got the person live on the call for you. It's a great opportunity for firms, and hope everyone out there will take the opportunity to give David a call, talk to him, learn more about what they have to offer, and see how they might be able to help your firm. David, before we go, I know we're running out of time here today, but we always like to ask everyone that joins our podcast, what is your favorite book recommendation for our listeners out there?
Yeah, one I recently read that I really enjoyed was Excellent Wins by Horst Schultz, who's the co-founder of Ritz-Carlton.
Oh, yeah.
Just with a focus, I love Ritz-Carlton, and the reason why, if it's the chocolate chip cookies or how they make you feel, the bottom line is winning loyalty and differentiation, through creating that customer experience. And, with, the law firm audience, the services, may not have a huge differentiation from a consumer's perspective, but how you make them feel and that experience and customer service that you give them can be all the difference.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. I'm going to have to check that book out. I have not read it yet. So anybody that listens to our podcast knows that Power of Moments is one of my favorite books. So I have a feeling that this one's going to be right up there with it, because I love being able to create those moments that are special for the clients or your team members. I just, what's the saying? I think it's people may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So I love that. And I so look forward to reading that book. Before we leave today, David, is there anything else you'd like to mention to our viewers or listeners out there?
I just appreciate the opportunity to talk to your audience, and definitely Walker is all about helping partner with firms long-term and being with them, 5-10 years and building something special together. And just appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you, David, and we look forward to seeing you at our September event in Las Vegas. So everyone, if you haven't registered, get out there and register. There's some great deals right now. If you go under Walker Advertising, I'm sure there's some discount codes that you guys can get to see us in Vegas for 3 days, jam-packed full of not only this type of opportunity for your firm to grow, but other ways that you can use your profitability to continue to grow your firm. So for now, I'm Micki Love for the Love of PI and for the Xcelerator Grow Fast, Grow Smart podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Grow Fast, Grow Smart, the PI Playbook by Xcelerator. If you like what you heard today, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time.